Hello, Orange Nation. Welcome back to another episode of Orange Juice News and Notes from around the world of Insoles. I'm one of your hosts today, Owen, and we have Marsha back with us again as a co host. Marsha, what's going on?
I'm back at our Michigan headquarters, and I unfortunately had to come back because I got an MRI results that I need some knee surgery. So, just trying to punch through that so I can become active and maybe get some rounds of golf in here in the next couple weeks. What's happening in your world?
Well, that's honestly quite the damper to start the show.
It's fine. I'm
But
happy to get it resolved.
but that's okay. What's going on in my world? I guess in lighter news, Marsha, do you know who has the best record in the MLB right now?
I'm gonna bank on your hat you're wearing. I'm gonna say the Tigers. Yep, let's go.
Detroit Tigers, baby.
Yep.
Number 1.
I haven't
Uh,
been enjoying listening to or watching them. They're very motivating. After our Pistons went down, Indianapolis is still in it though, aren't they?
yeah, they are.
In the NBA. We're
So
cheering
little
you guys
Midwest
on.
action.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Detroit Tigers are top of the MLB. That's not necessarily why everyone tunes into this podcast, but it is an important thing for our topic today, which is mental health and how it can show up in your body. So, for me, Detroit Tigers are first place right now. I feel ecstatic. I feel loose. I feel on top of the world, but I don't think that's exactly how it goes most of the time when we think about mental health and it showing up in your body. So our motto here at Orange Insoles, we mentioned this before, but it's feel better, do more. And this is one of those things where if you're conscious of how mental health, or more specifically like stress or anxiety or even depression, show up in your body, if you can be conscious of that and work through it in little ways, overall, you're going to feel better and be able to do more. So that's kind of the idea of today's topic. And we're just going to break down that in a little bit more detail. But, uh, Marsha, I'm sure you've had some cases where you've really kind of felt tense or maybe had some stress dive into your daily life. I think you actually mentioned it on a previous podcast, very lightly, where you had actually turned to maybe just doing some eating and some comfort food and that sort of thing, and that was one way to cope. But what are some of the ways you've kind of seen stress show up in your body and whatnot?
Well, it's an interesting topic because I'm not such a I don't really have anxiety and depression, but I do the stress that will come tight through your neck and through your shoulders. And I've had that, like I used to have a huge corporate job, and in executive meetings when it wasn't quite going my way, you could just feel this tension go right down through your shoulders, through your back. It was just unbelievable. And I will say I use this Aura ring now, and I don't think I have stress in my life. And then I'll go back on my day and it shows the exact time when I had it. It says, why don't you reflect on that moment? What led up to it? And you're like, oh, shoot. So I bring that comment up because sometimes we have this stress in our life that we just kind of punch through and don't really realize what it is doing to our body. And I don't see it till my ring says, hey, you had a big moment today for 30 minutes. What happened? Reflect on it and go back and see, could you change it? Could you have been proactive? So I think that's what we're going to kind of talk about today, is how can it affect your body, and then maybe we can give you some ideas on how to be proactive or punch through it, to get your body back to feeling good again.
100%. So you mentioned just like neck tightening, shoulders tightening, that sort of thing. And it may happen like in an instance, but then next thing you know, it's later in the day or the next day, and you're like, man, my neck feels kind of sore, or my shoulders feel kind of sore. And it's because sure enough, over the course of that time, that moment, or a few days, whatever it is, you're literally you can be tensing up due to just natural stress in your everyday life. Uh,
Well, the other thing too is, like, not for me so much. I have not had a career where I've been on my feet. But, like, we talk for me shoulder, back, but I know other people I've talked to, especially in the medical field where we sell a lot of orange insoles and we meet with a lot of the medical community, just being on their feet all day. Like that tension in your calves, you have, sore arches, the back. My older son, Tom, is looking to open a doggy daycare. And so he's been on his feet training right now, learning the environment of it and playing with dogs all day and working through that. All of a sudden he went from a desk job to doing all day foot and the steps he gets in. And we forget about that medical community, ambulance, police, fire. Like that's a different kind of stress and tension on your body that I haven't been familiar with, but we definitely want to address that kind of lane of a job or profession today with some of our solutions.
Great point, Marcia. And with that, we don't want to lead you guys on too much. So, a few quick things you guys can do. Just if you feel stressed, let's say in your neck and shoulders, you can do some simple head rolls. I'm going to do it for fun on camera. I just felt a crack in my neck. So, you can do some neck rolls, shoulder rolls. Kind of look like someone asks you a question, you have no idea how to answer it. Raise your shoulders up and do that, and that'll loosen up. You can also, we've talked about this before, but uh, do like some foot exercises, like ankle alphabets, that sort of thing, and that'll help loosen your lower body. Um, Calf stretches is another great thing you can do to relieve the tension in your feet, but also your hamstrings. So there are a variety of things you can do, and it's mostly just about listening to your body and being proactive.
The other thing too, if you travel, which I used to do in my profession, and I know with COVID loosening up now, there's everyone's kind of back in planes again and or driving, everyone wants face-to-face meetings again. One thing I used to do is like grab one of those in the airport. They have those quick massage chairs or a quick little station. You can get that 15-minute back. Oh my gosh, was that a miracle? And then the other thing I would say is that in like our local mall, we have like these little massage chairs, or like you can go to a massage person for 15 minutes, or in your local gym. I mean, just staying ahead of that, or just taking like a foam roller. We talk about it in many of our episodes, but rolling that through your neck and your back. There's a lot of great videos and feedback we have on the rolling. But one thing that uh, your Tom does, one of our business partners in Playmakers, our shoe store, he tells me that in the middle of the day, a lot of times now he's been just grabbing whoever's meeting he was supposed to meet on one, and they're like, let's walk and talk. And so they're doing walk and talk. And I bring that up because if it felt like a stressful meeting, it's always good to grab someone and go, let's walk and talk for 5 minutes. And, both of you are walking and talking and kind of letting it out and, just having the conversation, talking through stress can also help. But 5 minute walks, it's amazing what just maybe getting a couple hundred steps in can just do for your body and getting it moving and out of a chair and sitting.
Absolutely. I mean, just going for a walk can easily relieve tension, but then also if you're walking outside, I know it's kind of hit or miss depending on where you live if you can get outside, but it is that time of the year. That fresh air is going to do wonders for your mental health as well. Just the higher oxygen levels, and then also being able to move your body and soak in some vitamin D as well, which is essential for mental health and that sort of thing. So there are so many different things you can do, but I think if you just introduce one or two small things into your routine, you might really notice that your body starts to feel better.
Yeah, I would say too, I think one of the most critical things that my nutritionist talks about for stress and making yourself feel better is sleep. So there's so many like just the stress. If you've had a long day, it's so hard to just calm your mind down and get to sleep. And sleep is so critical just to revive your body and give your brain time, your heart rate to drop and just be steady. So I don't know what your thoughts, Owen, are on that. I know you've got two little ones at home. By the time you do bath time, I've been there. Get them in bed. It's like, holy smokes, you're pretty wound up, I
Yeah.
would assume. I don't know.
Well, one thing I will say is we're really lucky where we have our kids on a really tight schedule. And sometimes it makes it hard. We can't really do as much, but they sleep through the night. So I'm lucky where I don't necessarily have all these disruptions at this point. But absolutely, I notice that if I have a poor night's sleep or whatever it may be, it absolutely just affects how I'm feeling the next day. And a lot of the times it can be a compounding effect where you get stressed or maybe you're holding on to stress so you can't sleep as well, and then you don't sleep as well, so you're not really recovering from that prior stress, and so on and so forth. So there are a few things that I do for my sleep routine and have really been cognizant of, uh, kind of just like the sleeping conditions and what I'm doing before bed. I know one thing is reducing screen time before bed, and admittedly, I'm really bad at that, but everything else I think I do pretty well. Even if it's just like, hey, I don't like this pillow and I feel like I don't sleep well with this pillow. It's probably worth swapping it out if that's going to help you sleep better at night, or sheets or blankets or whatever it is. So there's a lot of things that it's important not to overlook.
One of the things our producer suggested was soaking your feet in Epsom salts just to bring yourself down. In my mind, when I'm stressed and going 100 miles an hour, who the hell's got time to fill up a bowl and put your feet in Epsom salt? However, I'm thinking about it. Like, how do you do that in your routine? And if you're someone who's like, hey, I got to see the Voice grand finale tonight, you might as well do it while you're sitting there winding down at your last 15 minutes of your show or whatever, and then you're ready to go. Or some people like to game at night, and like towards the end of that, after you're getting ready to shut it off. So there are ways that you're sitting there kind of bringing yourself down, that you can set the bowl up, get yourself ready to pop your feet into at the commercial breaks of whatever show or whatever you're doing in the evening. So I have not tried that, but that is something that works for our producer. But one thing that I have kind of learned from my ring is the nights I eat late, AKA Friday nights out on the town, eating my chicken wings late at night, bar food, cocktailing, whatever. It's amazing how that can just disrupt a good night's sleep of eating so late at night. I didn't realize it. And then the nights I don't have a good night's sleep, my phone app from my ring says, hey, did you eat late last night? I'm like, oh my gosh, busted. I did. So that's just one thing to think about, is like, what's the timing of when you're eating? And then the other thing I would throw in for me for just bringing it down at night, my nutritionist got me taking a good brand of magnesium, and taking that at night. I cannot tell you the sleep difference that I've experienced with that. I don't know, Owen, if you take magnesium at night, but that's been a good quick solution. Pop it in after brushing your teeth, you're in.
Yeah, that's actually something that I incorporated into my routine as well. I think actually totally separately, Marsha, but there are a few different things that I like. One is the nighttime magnesium. Uh, there are general magnesium supplements, but there is one, I believe it's called magnesium glycate. But that's going to be more of your nighttime one that helps relax your mind and your body and that sort of thing. But what I've noticed with it is I'll take it, and um, they're just kind of like those things you have to do the next day where you're just kind of starting to prepare for in your mind as you're starting to go to bed. You're like, all right, I'm going to wake up. At least I do sometimes, X, Y, and Z, that sort of thing. And then you wake up in the morning, you're like, okay, I got X, Y, and Z kind of right away. Like your mind just starts turning, right? And spinning, and you're active. But what I found is the magnesium really just helps kind of relax your thoughts and kind of provides some clarity where you wake up, you just kind of get your day started. This is after a good night's rest with magnesium. And you just feel like you can hop into things a little bit easier. Really, it's because you're getting a more complete sleep ultimately. And then I've also done or taken melatonin as well, just in small doses as something before bedtime if I may not have magnesium or whatever it may be.
I have done that too, but I just felt like I was kind of getting addicted to it. So I switched over to the magnesium, um but as you can see, like stress can completely disrupt your sleep, and it just keeps you it could keep you very wired through the evening, and we know that sleep is really critical. The other thing though too is just um, lack of motivation or overtraining. Both sides of this also can be on the stress side of your body. So I bring that up because some people don't know how to slow down, and some people do extra and get going. So we're kind of switching gears as another way to relieve stress from your body, or um, just that anxiety and that type of thing, is looking to working out. So do you
Yeah, and
do any of that kind of routine?
well, I've seen it both ways where, the tasks, so to speak, are starting to stack up and that sort of thing, and I just want to get it all done right at once. I'm like, whether that's, working out or mowing the lawn or literally doing work or whatever it may be. But if I don't really have, I guess, like, if I'm not mentally rested, it's going to be a lot harder for me to do those tasks. So sometimes I'll push through and it's like, gosh, this is so difficult to, let's say, mow the lawn or whatever it is. And it in the future, or like what I've done in other times as well, is I've just taken, a break, whether that's going on a walk with the dog and the kids, or just maybe even flipping on video games or just something small. And then I come back to that task, and sure enough, it's a lot easier to do. So that's a very real effect of overdoing it. But then on the flip side, I've had things stack up, and I'm like, man, I don't feel like doing any of this. And I just kind of, I'm like, maybe if I just rest it off and get back at it later, that'll be good. And then, things keep piling up. And long story short, once I actually hop into it, I feel so much better. I'm like, man, that was not as bad as I thought it would be. And just getting outside and taking a walk, or knocking out my first task of the day, really helped me get going. So yeah, I've seen it both ways, and that sort of thing, just depending on what's going on. But it's very common.
Got it. Yeah. So, I think what's interesting to me is usually when I'm stressed, I just don't have enough time on my plate. So I usually knock out working out is not a solution, but reality is it's probably one of the best solutions to just take that 50 minutes, bike ride, walk, whatever it might be. Go to the gym and just get that out of your system. Your body just loves to just get that stress out. But I think one of the feedback we also have received is some people will get extreme with the workouts and overutilize it for stress, and then comes injuries and all that typing thing. But it's tough because it's a good way to cope with anxiety or stress and that kind of thing. But then there's like that balance of overdoing it, aka my meniscus tear, because I work out every day,
I'm
but I
glad
don't
you said
work out
it.
every day.
I was gonna say it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
definitely my mental thing. If I don't start my day with a workout, I'm just in my own head for the rest of the day. So, um,
and
but let's just talk about that. Are there some support tools or thoughts that we should conclude this podcast with, maybe some quick solutions for people that we haven't mentioned?
yeah, yeah, I think just to maybe bottom line it, and we'll get into some more specific things, but really just listening to your body and being mindful. uh like, if you just stop, do you have tension in your neck, your shoulders? Is there tension in your lower body? Are your feet aching? Is your mind racing? Just being aware of what's going on is a really good starting point. And then maybe you point out, hey, uh, my neck and shoulders are pretty tense. Let me try some of those things we talked about today, or whatever it may be. But that's kind of step one, is really just being mindful, I would say, more than anything.
Well, I think one of the things we didn't talk about when you talk about being mindful, and you could do a whole podcast on this, is just like breathing techniques, right? Just because your nervous system, that whole thing, you need like those deep breaths. I'm sure you've heard the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 breathing steps that Mel Robinson promotes on her podcast that got her famous on the TED Talk. So I am not a big breather person, but I definitely see, I've tried it and it's like, wow, it is crazy what breathing can do to you. And it kind of, it's almost like you're blowing out things out of your body. I don't know if you do breathing techniques at all, Owen?
I do try to be mindful of it at times, not overly, but from what I've read is it's like a built-in natural reset of your, I want to say, like the rhythm of your heart, and it helps lower it back to like a steady level, and then ultimately that's going to connect with just the rest of your body being at a more stable level. But yeah, it's been proven that it's really beneficial to just help give a quick reset doing the breathing and whatnot. I've done a few different things. One thing is like scents are really powerful as well. So if you get your favorite essential oils or whatever it may be, or even a special candle, in so you either have like an oil diffuser or your candle or whatever, and really connecting to that scent can help. Also, music therapy is a really real thing. It doesn't necessarily, therapy sounds like such a heavy word, but it's like, hey, have you ever turned on your favorite song and kind of felt a little bit better afterwards? Like, yeah, that definitely helps. Uh, and then even just making sure, and we've talked about this in past podcasts, but just that you're eating well, like you said earlier, mindful of when you're eating at night, or if your certain foods don't make you feel as well. It's all interconnected. Really, is kind of what we're saying.
I would say too on the food end is like even through your day, try to avoid food that's going to make you crash. Because in that stressful meeting, in that moment, they always have these amazing snack stations, and you're over there just snacking on food, snacking on food. And then you just pay the penalty late at night or after the meeting when you just crash. And then when you crash and don't have energy, you just feel more stressed because your mind isn't as clear and you're trying to get your stuff done. And I would definitely be mindful of that. And then the other thing is, we did a podcast a couple weeks ago on protein. Is just take monitoring your protein intake. That's so good for your body. It gives you that natural energy that you will need through your day that won't put that stress on you. And the other thing I would say is there's been a lot of push to take creatine because creatine keeps your mind fresh. It does your mind. It also is known to build muscle in your body, which is a whole other topic on what muscle can do for you. But creatine as well is a great brain source. Highly recommend looking into the different nutritional things you can take quick in the morning, little packet brain health type liquid packets that I take. There's that type of thing too. If you feel like you're not plotting your day with the right nutrition food, just take some supplements at least to kind of get you through. Um, but I love the deep breathing thing that you brought up. I think that there is a lot to that, and I love the smell. That's a really good one too, just connecting with that. And I guess my question would be is like, what's your top three go-to songs? Because you are such a music kid.
Oh gosh,
All right, I really put you on the spot with that one.
that's fine. That's fine. Well, I've fully transitioned into country music,
Oh no.
and the Country Music
No.
Awards or whatever it's
Come
called was
back.
on.
Okay.
Uh, so I'll go with, right now, I really like "I Never Lie" by Zach Top.
Oh.
He won Best New Male Artist of the Year. We'll go "Small Town Girls" by Thomas Rhett and Tucker Wetmore from Thomas Rhett's new album. And this is a good one, "When It Rains It Pours" by Luke Combs.
All right. I'm not a country person. However, I did hear Blake Shelton's new song, Sangria. and I actually thought it was pretty good.
Okay.
Oh, it's number 1 on the charts, country right now. I know you're
Is
impressed,
it?
but I know that. Yes, it is. Well, that's what Blake said, but who knows? I mean, I trusting Blake, but oh, I love that. All right, so
Well, go
yeah.
ahead, Marcia.
Oh no, I was just gonna say shifting gears kind of to tie this up. One other thing that obvious to me for stress, I have not done it, is I know this younger generation, everyone has a therapist, and whether it's a therapist or someone you can just vent to off record who's not in your daily routine, is always a good solution too, is talking that out, especially with mental health. I highly recommend a therapist. Most health insurances cover it now. It can be a simple Zoom call conversation. They are very flexible, work in your day. And then I would say the final thing, going back around to people on their feet all day, that stress of movement and just going, oh, how am I going to make it through the night? Being proactive and getting the right footwear, maybe an insole support. What's your thought, Owen?
Yeah, well, first off, you kind of called out the younger generation and therapists and that sort of thing, and not
True.
that there's anything wrong with that, but I don't think it's necessarily a generational thing. I just think there's been more awareness around mental health in general, and something that people are talking about. And there has been this stigma around therapists and therapy where it's like, oh, if you're going to therapy or you're seeing a therapist, like there must be something seriously wrong with you or that sort of thing.
Right.
Where like now I like literally hear people talk about, or just like in even in like TV shows or movies or whatever and that sort of thing. It's like, yeah, I gotta go blow off some steam and vent to my shrink, or whatever it is. It's just more of a thing that people pick up and use as a great resource. And I mean, in short, I guess that's a good way to put it, is like venting to your shrink, but it's just someone to talk to that doesn't have a connection to your situation that can maybe provide some clarity and that sort of thing. But go ahead, Marsha. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to clear that up. You're absolutely right. I say this generation because our generation didn't have access to this. So I didn't grow up with access to a therapist. I mean, you really had to go out, search them, find them, and pay out of your pocket and physically go there. Now it's just so readily available. When you go to your yearly physical now, it's like there's sources, here's resources right here. It's part of the conversation for your mental health and your physical body health at your yearly exam. And that did not happen for me. As you guys know, I'm 56, back in my generation. So yours, it's like part of your routine now, which is great, just like gaming is. I don't even know how to game. I don't even have a remote, but like there's just a lot of our generation is it's just what I think is exciting about this podcast is that each week we continually show kind of the differences between the age group, and maybe what's on Owen's mind who's 29 and Marsha's mind who's 56 and our producer who's 25. There's just it's kind of
I'm
fun
only
to be
28. Come
open.
on.
What's that?
I'm only 28. Don't make me sound too old.
Oh shoot, you're right. Yeah, why am I saying you're 29?
I'm
Oh,
surprised
because
you dropped your age. Wow.
I have a few times on this podcast because you know what? Until we become Mel Robinson's podcast level, we can tell our age. But you're right. I think I'm thinking because your birthday's in July coming up. We were just talking how you're going to be 29. Sorry, I've already put you there. Please
You're
forgive.
fine. You're fine. I'm just giving you a hard
Please
time.
forgive me. Um,
Um,
but
but
yes,
with
you're correct.
So with I guess total pivot back to insoles, because this is an Orange Insoles podcast. There are a lot of times where you might be on your feet for a long period of time and you're putting extra stress on your body in a physical way, or maybe it's difficult for you to get out and exercise as well as essentially a tool that you can use to feel better. Our product, Orange Insoles, helps offer extra support, can help your feet, your knees, your hips, your back, ankles, you name it, with your lower extremity. It just provides a strong foundation and aligns everything from the ground up, and it really can help fix a lot of the problems that you may be experiencing in conjunction with your stretching and a lot of the other remedies that we pointed out as well. So we definitely don't want to overlook that if you're once again maybe needing some extra support, that you don't think about necessarily just footwear, but consider insoles as an option as well, and specifically orange insoles.
So I would say really, in conclusion here off this podcast, taking care of both your mind and your body, it matters. Neglecting one can affect the other. And hopefully, we gave you some good solutions, quick fixes that you could try. But we'd love for you to share any of your solutions that we could share on a future podcast. So, really appreciate you joining us. And we look forward to the next week podcast. Every Tuesday, look for us.